This meeting is being recorded.
Excellent. So, yeah, I mean, I know that I'm going to kind of let Dawn run this meeting, if she wants.
Okay,
Then,
I'll just give you a little bit of background of who I am, Dr. Emerson. I'm glad that you're here. So I am currently running for Horry County Council. However, for 7 years, I have been engaging with Horry County Council and trying diligently to stop them from building on wetlands and preventing them from the overdevelopment that's now currently going on. Ironically, last night I was at a meeting. The most senior member of council is, Harold Worley. And Harold Worley admitted last night publicly that the county representatives and the county personnel themselves don't know what a wetland looks like when it's in front of them. So that was excessively shocking to me that he admitted that out loud in public. So the current problem that I have discovered is that we don't require, as a county, so through planning and zoning, we do not require any environmental studies. We do not require any 404 permit. We don't require anything at the time Planning Commission is looking at projects. So I did a long look at all of the permits being issued for 404 in Horry County over the past 20 years. Horry County has the lowest numbers of 404 permits in the state of South Carolina, and we have the highest amount of building in the entire country right now. We're at the top of the list for development as counties go. So I brought this on 3 separate occasions to Horry County Council over the past year to say, how is it we're not seeking 404 permits? And as far as the county is concerned, it's up to the developer to be seeking those permits. They get a permit out of a corporation out of Conway. I don't know if it's Brighton or Bright something, and I can get you this information. I'll send an email out tomorrow to whoever would like it. But there's a company in Conway, an engineering firm, that basically signs off and says there are no wetlands. So the builder, the developer, the powers that be who are trying to build submit that to the Planning Commission, and they're not required to get a 404 permit. But I can show at least 11 developments where I am entirely sure there are more than 1/2 acre of wetlands. I have my own backyard has a jurisdictional tributary, as does 2 up the street. It's called, my own is Cedar Creek. The one up the street is something creek, Mullet Creek. So the other one up the street is Mullet Creek. Both of these creeks go directly into the Intercoastal Waterway and therefore directly into the Atlantic Ocean. And they are, without question, they are jurisdictional tributaries. So I've been at this for about 2 years looking specifically at these type of problems in Horry County, and I have gotten nowhere. So this year I've decided to run for public office as chair, which is the head of Horry County Council. Everyone is well aware of my agenda, and that is to stop the development to require 404 permits for any new building. If there's even a scratch of wetlands, I want to see a 404 permit. So we are inundated by the problems of A.O. Hardy, which is Benji Hardy. He is the most wealthy developer in the state of South Carolina. He has complete control of this county as far as building and development. So this has been an uphill battle. I drove out to Island Green last weekend and met with Dawn. The place itself is an absolute disaster. And I went directly to council with what I feel is not only environmentally unsound development, without question, it is public safety wise, one of the most catastrophic disasters I've ever seen. So I also found out that the person who purchased that land for Horton, where Dawn is out on Green Island, is a man by the name of John Curtis Dukes. His wife is seeking a seat on council right now and is a joint owner in the 4 companies that he is using to purchase land for development in the county. So what's all that about? The thing is, I've discovered a little niche in the law. our laws for planning and development and building regulations has this little clause, section 13, that says if two ordinances contradict each other, the most restrictive must apply. So we do actually have ordinances that were put into place in 2019 based on environmental studies where the county absolutely promises in an ordinance that they are going to protect wetlands and they are going to be better stewards. So all these building sites that they've approved, they approved by ordinance for rezoning. And I think that I can actually get an injunction to prevent any further building or any further land movement out at Island Green, but I'm not an attorney. I don't have property there. I don't have the right to go there and file for them. So it would have to be somebody who owns property in any one of the developments at Island Green. It doesn't have to be one association. It costs $150 to file in the circuit court is what you would have to be doing, and forcing the county to implement that section 13 where it says if there are two ordinances that conflict each other, the most strict must apply. That gives rise to a challenge for any further building there, and it certainly would prevent them from filling in that stream. So that's that's as much as I can tell you from my end.
Okay, glad that you made that assessment and taken a look at it. And I'm also really glad I'm recording because that was a lot of very valuable information.
A lot. Dr. Emmerman, from when you were here, does this, what she said, help with your report in any way?
Well, I think I'm going to turn that back to you, Katrina. So the way I came into this whole picture was being asked the question whether Peach Creek was a natural stream. Okay. There seem to be many people think that it's simply a ditch. Okay. Although I actually haven't found that documented anywhere, someone claiming it's a man-made.
I did read your report, so.
I see. Okay, well, that's how I came into this, okay? But since then, as far as I know, this has never gotten any traction, okay? That is, no one actually seems to care whether it is or is not a natural stream, okay? After seeing it in person last March, okay, I can actually have further argue that it's a natural stream, okay? But there's so much evidence that it's a natural stream. A little more evidence doesn't really matter, okay?
But it does, I think it does, and I don't mean to cut over you. I'm just gonna say, I am gonna bring this to, so what happens is people in a community are kind of fractured. So one person doesn't bring something with enough force. They might send it to one county councilman, or they might bring it to one representative. I can't remember the young man's name in Georgia from the EPA. I don't even bother going to the county council anymore. They're corrupt. And I have said that publicly. I'm not afraid to say it here. So I go to the EPA in Georgia, and I go to Army Corps in Washington, D.C. And I will send your evidence because I think it substantially backs up what's being said. I mean, I went out there personally myself. So I make a habit of going to what I'm talking. There's no point in me getting involved or trying to help with something if I don't know what I'm talking about. So I went out and I looked. There is absolutely clear evidence of wetlands. There is clearly a running stream. And after reading your report, that scientifically proves, in my opinion, that is a stream, a natural stream. Putting 5,000 tons of dirt on top of it is not going to make it go away. It's only going to divert the water to somewhere else. So I think there is a very big argument to make and to bring. If county council is not willing to listen, they aren't the end of the road. People don't know they need to go to Columbia, or they need to go to DC or to the EPA and get other people involved. So I think your report absolutely establishes exactly what we want to show, and that is you can't build here.
Okay, I guess what I was asking is, I understand that your agenda is to prevent building on wetlands without proper permitting, okay, which of course makes perfect sense to me, okay? What additional information could I provide that would help with that agenda? Or is it?
Well, your bio, your resume would be absolutely imperative to go with this.
Well, that's the easy part. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying, so it's one thing to have the report, it's another thing to say, this is not somebody we just picked randomly who's supporting our cause. This is somebody who is clearly identifiable, clearly an expert in the field, and would not for any reason put this up if it wasn't true.
Okay.
I mean, so here in Horry County, there's no point in talking to anybody here. They have these experts who are not experts. They have people who are just willing to sign a piece of paper. If I can go to the EPA with your report and your credentials and say, hey, I need you to come here and look at this, I think I will get the young man who runs 3 states out of Georgia to come up here and have a look.
I see.
I think when someone is physically in this place, they will, there's no way to avoid looking at this. There's no way to avoid saying, this is absolutely not a buildable area. Harold Worley, so because he sat 2 terms as a senator, 20 years on the Horry County Council, I'm going to ask him directly to come out and take the drive out and see this. And I am going to be very public with the other members of council to say, you all passed building on this. The developer intends to backfill this and cover a stream. How on earth, I mean, being very public about it is the hard part. I just happen to know the right people to do it with right now.
Oh, okay, I understand. Okay. So additional evidence that Peach Creek is a natural stream would be helpful. Is that right?
Absolutely.
I got it. Okay. Okay.
I've even pulled a couple of old maps. So because of that preserve, I have maps from 1970 and 1978 that show a running body of water there. So
okay,
if
I
it was a
from
ditch,
1943.
yeah, okay, even better. That's the whole thing. So if they allowed development and they're saying the ditch, well, we can produce maps that are years prior to any development there that clearly show running water. So obviously you know better than I do, but that's always what I go looking for, something prior to the development, and then you can see there's water there.
Oh, okay. My report talks about maps going back to 1943.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
Okay.
Sorry, give me just 1 second.
That's okay. It's maps from U.S. Army Corps of Engineers going back to 1943.
Okay, I didn't realize those were in there, and I'm just making myself a note. So that is exactly the kind of thing that we need to take to the EPA. If you don't, so the Army Corps of Engineer representative for our county right now, his last name is Hardy, Tony Hardy. Benji Hardy, whether they're related or not, I don't know because I can't spend the time to look into it. But Benji Hardy is the most influential developer in this side of the country, but all of South Carolina. So if he has an Army Corps person and they happen to share the same last name, who is our representative in Conway, we can't do anything from here. We have to go outside of our area. Right. And I think the EPA, and I'm sorry, I don't have his name with me right now, but the young man, he's about 36 years old. He's down in Atlanta, Georgia, and he handles Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. And if I can convince him to come up here and look, you might actually be able to get the federal government to start looking into what's happening here. Okay, I got it. I mean, that's my plan. It has nothing to do with my political agenda. I'm running for political office because of this, because I have spent 7 years fighting this, and I have seen project after project after project. Green Isle, on a public safety issue for me, with 1,200 people in one way out, and that will flood in a storm. There's no question. I know you've been out there yourself, Dr. Emerson.
Right.
So it's very clear to see those people, anyone who decides to remain in that development area during a storm is definitely risking their life. It's not like me. I live right near two major roads. You know, I have 17 and 90 in my backyard. I can get out if I need to get out. Those people will be trapped by floodwater or rising tides. And if that was not a stream, how would we have a tidal change there? I mean, I don't know how they ever came to the conclusion that they didn't have wetlands or any body of water there.
Okay, I got it.
See, my thing was always, you know, how could they give permits? Did someone actually come out here and look at this area and just say that it's nothing and give permits? I mean, if reasonable people, you know, actually came here and looked, they could see that this is an actual stream that comes from the Waccamaw River through the refuge and completely through Island Green. And if they damage that creek in any way, it's just going to be devastating to not only our community, but it's possible to the refuge. And that's why Craig Sasser, the director of the refuge, is he's, you know, wanting to know what's going to happen as well here. And that's why he helped us and took us, me and Dr. Emmerman, on a boat ride down Peach Creek from the Waccamaw. You know, he doesn't want his refuge damaged in any way.
Right, but he hasn't, Dawn, and I'm not criticizing anybody. I'm just saying, you know, I've talked to a number, not just yourself, but a number of other residents from Island Green. No one has been willing to step up and scream enough. And if this man is gently trying to push an agenda, you're talking about $1 billion corporation who wants to build homes. And they have people on council and people in the government who are allowing them to do that and are not following the rules. I know you know yourself, Amy, over at the Coastal Conservation Law Project. I think they're partially funded by Benji Hardy because she has not stepped in and gotten involved in any of these issues. It just doesn't make sense. This is so clear cut to me, and I'm preaching to the choir, I know, but there is no question this cannot be covered up. You can't backfill this. So why on earth would anybody be considering doing it? Because they can, because they're allowed to and no one's stopping them. So this is really a matter of people having to kick and scream until the job gets done. But I think this Section 13 thing where there are two conflicting ordinances will be a way to prevent them from breaking ground. And I said this to yourself and your friend the other day, you have to have 5 people come out on the 7th of June and speak. I will prepare every document needed for court. So I have a law degree. Sheila and Dr. Emerson, I know you don't know anything about my background. I don't practice law, I'm an arbitrator, but I do have a law degree. I have a Juris Doctorate with honors. I know how to get the things done. I don't have standing to stand up for Island Green. I don't live there and I have no affiliation with that development or with that area. But that doesn't mean I can't prepare everything you need, add Dr. Emmerman's report to it, and submit it into court and ask for an immediate injunction for no further land movement. That is extremely doable. It costs $150. It's going to cost $175, $150 for the motion, $25 for a hearing, and you will get a hearing. They have to give you one. So the threat of them having to account for this will get the ball in motion. So if out of 20 something homeowners associations that are on that road, you need to collect $175 and you need to get 5 people who are willing to stand up and speak at the county council, not in court, just to come to county council on the 7th of June and say, we are going to submit this tomorrow to court. This is what's going on. It has to stop. And you can either engage with us now or we're going to file. And it can't be a blank threat. It has to be an actual, if they don't agree to meet with you within 7 days of that hearing or 7 days of that county council meeting, you have to go to the court and file it. And you will get the injunction. The courts are not going to allow them to do what they're doing, but the courts don't know what's happening. Somebody has to be able to stand up and make a stink. It takes a lot of courage. It takes time, and people have to be committed to stopping it.
Okay, well, real quick, I do want to introduce you to Sheila Barefoot. She's with the group Anthropocene Alliance that's helping us. And with Anthropocene Alliance, I was given a $4,000 grant. And with that, some of that money, I will pay that $175 if that's needed.
So we still need the people, because somebody, I can't sign my name.
Right. I will find people. I also want to introduce you real quick to Kirsty. She's our political scientist with the Thriving Earth Exchange. And because I'm not good with politics, she comes in handy. So that's why I asked her to be here. She's on the road right now, but she's listening.
Okay.
So I wanted you to see that I do have groups that have my back on this, and I am so thankful that I found you, Katrina, so I could show them that, I mean, there is somebody else besides me.
There is a way to get this done. Like I'm saying that, Dawn, you know, I think you've talked to me enough lately. There is a way to get this done. And I like, this is not a Miss America speech. I'm just saying to all of you right now, I didn't go to law school because I wanted to become a lawyer and because I wanted to make money. I have 3 grown children, 7 grandchildren. I am semi-retired. I went to law school at 45 because the law belongs to everybody. It's ours. We're supposed to be able to use it when things are wrong. We're supposed to be able to avail of it when we know something's going wrong. So that is the reason I get involved in these things. I am not an environmental specialist. I'm not even an environmentalist. I live on a marina and I love the water. I've been on the ocean my whole life. I lived in West Clare, Ireland for 10 years. So we have to preserve this. It's our obligation to do this. And if the Coastal Environmental Law Project isn't willing to help, I'm accepting there's a reason. If they can't step up because they're going to lose funding if they get involved in something like this, then we have to do it. We have to figure out a way to get it done. And I'm totally all in. It's not a difficult thing to do, but it's going to take some time. So next week is 2 weeks, is the 7th. So maybe this weekend, either Friday, I have all day Friday and all day Saturday free. So I'm happy to come to Island Green and meet down there again. I'm happy to do a Zoom again. But I will prepare the documents. I just give me one name. It doesn't have to be a group of people. It can be one name. And what happens is we're going to file an action in civil court if we can't get the county to do something. Once it's filed, only one name needs to file it. So you file it. What's going to happen is the developer is going to intervene. They're going to file a suit intervening in this as a defendant, because we're going to go against the county now. So then the developer, Horton, is going to hire a set of attorneys and they're going to try and shut us up and say, okay, we're going to file as interveners because it's our property. They can do that. But once they do that, every single member, every person that lives in Island Green, they don't even have to be there. They don't have to be homeowners. If you live there, can become an intervener for a plaintiff. So it's going to look like you're starting with one person and they're not going to be worried and they're not going to be too put off by it. But if the developer intervenes, and they will, you've already got an injunction. So you're going to stop this from happening. And then you're going to tie it up as long as you humanly can by letting every single one person at a time intervene. The courts are going to have to send. So let's just say, in my case, I got 76 here. Additional interveners. So every time the court had to do something, they had to send it out 75 times. Every time the developer wanted to file a motion, they had to send it out 75 times. You guys have 1,200 people. You want to make a point, this is the way to do it, because the court's going to be mad, the judge is going to be mad, everybody's going to go crazy, the more people that become interveners. And then people have to listen to what you're saying. So it sounds crazy, but it did work for me. I prevented a 12-story high-rise from being built in my backyard. And they did have it approved through planning commission approved it, county council approved it, and I stopped it.
I do have to be careful at least up until June 2nd, when my court case for trespassing hopefully isn't rescheduled and just something is done.
So we can, Dawn, we can just leave your name off it. I think if you've got 1,200 people living there, there should be 2, 5, 10. Just say 10. The woman who I told you, I met a woman from up your way Saturday. She's the wife, the husband is president of one of the homeowners association. So I'm sorry, I don't have the time. I just don't have the time to commit to contacting these people. And I live on the exact opposite end of the county. So between yourself and anybody else who is clearly paying attention, I wholeheartedly can't say enough that 5 people should be speaking at the next county council meeting on the 7th. But in the meantime, all I need is one person who's willing to put their name on the document. You have the $175, which, excuse the expression, but that's a piss in the bucket. $175 to get this started. No attorney would touch this for 50, 60,000. They're not going to get involved. And you're never going to be able to get that money together. I couldn't. I had 150 people here and we couldn't get together $25,000 to stop what was going on. So there is a grassroots way to accomplish this, but you need a couple of really committed people. That they do, the faster you can get this in and get an injunction, it will prevent that, because they're going to construct homes back there. They already have a platform where I don't know how many, let's just say 20 homes they're going to already cleared and have the piping ready. Stopping them from filling in that creek and stopping any further disruption to the wetlands there is what I think is the goal here. So in order to do that, getting an injunction, let them build the platform they've already done. It's retarded, but it's there. Let them go ahead and work away at that. But if we could get an injunction to stop them from moving any further land, we can't stop the build. That's under construction and there's no way a court's going to actually stop it, or we'd have to post a $500,000 bond because they're going to claim damages. So I would say trying to get an injunction. If you can talk to the person at the law clinic and say, look, we have somebody who's willing to file the paperwork, at least then we can put off a hearing until August. because they can pick it up. I can't represent anything in a court setting, but not pro bono, pro se, anybody who lives in that general area can bring an action because they're affected by it. Like they have standing as pro se themselves to do it. I have no problem getting the paperwork together to make that happen.
I don't know what else to say. I'm just so excited, Katrina, that you're here. Kirsty, did you want to say something?
I guess it's good to think about what the marching orders are after hearing what Katrina has to say, right? So just sort of listening in, it seems like the next marching orders are to identify at least one person who would be committed to this, send that name to Katrina, and then start prepping for others to speak at the town hall meeting in 2 weeks. Is that correct?
Yes, that is exactly like that is where I'm at, where I think would be beneficial for everybody. Get it moving. It's the best thing to do. Addressing, having a few people. Sorry, I'm backing up.
Kirsty, I think your background. Yeah, I think you're the source of the echo. Great, thanks.
So I think the marching orders, and I'm glad because that's kind of sometimes exactly what we need is someone to say, this is what we need to do. And addressing county council on the 7th. So 3 people would be awesome. And I need to meet with them to help them understand what they're trying to obtain or what they're trying to accomplish at that meeting. And I will prepare all the documents as long as one person, it can be more than one, but we need at least one person who is not fearful. They're not going to get sued back. There's nothing, worst case scenario is that the case might get dismissed. That sometimes happens if it's not taken care of properly or submitted properly. But the worst case scenario is the case might get dismissed. No one's going to get caught with legal fees. None of that stuff is going to happen. These are common concerns people have that they don't want to put their name on a lawsuit. I almost am certain there are probably 20 people down in Island Green who are willing to step up and do this. So 1 or 2 would be great. And then when the ball starts rolling, then little by little, you just bring 10 a week, 20 a week. So it just gets bigger and bigger till the point everybody realizes you got to sit down at a table and start compromising and figure out how to stop what's going on or do a better job at preparing for where they want to build. You know, you have to get them to engage, and the only way to do it is to bully them into it with a lot of paperwork.
Okay, you had told me on Sunday that not everybody speaking can talk about the same thing. So,
well, they can talk about the same general topic. So let's just say, Dawn, somebody wants to talk about the Limpkin and the wildlife. Somebody else needs to talk about why the wetlands should not be touched, should not be disrupted, should not whatever. Other people, then someone else can talk about all the other impacts of this type of build on other issues like the preserve. How is this going to affect the preserve? What about the fact this water will still be running under construction there? So when I say they can't talk about the same thing, you can't have 3 or 5 people go up to that mic and talk about a bird. you need 3 or 5 people. They're going to talk about the exact same place, but 5 different issues why this
Right,
should
right,
not be
right.
happening.
And one talk about the safety with, we're not getting another entrance or exit. So just one talking about the safety of the community with that. And then the flooding issues, the wildlife and so on like that.
Exactly. So I can come out on Friday or Saturday. It's already Wednesday, so I might even say, I have to look at my schedule. A Friday and Saturday, I have pretty clear schedules during the day. So I don't mind coming out, and then there's no rule against coaching people to speak at public input. So getting them prepared and understanding, this is what I want you to say, and you have 5 minutes to say it, and the next person has 5 minutes too. So they're just going to pick up where the one person left off, and they're going to start talking, even though it's exactly the same geographical place. It's a completely different issue that's going to cause a problem because of what they're allowing here.
Right.
So it's just a strategy to spend a lot of time at the mic talking about the same problem.
Right.
So it just takes a little bit of coordination. So if someone has, not everybody can speak in public. 5 minutes at a mic is a lot of time. It's a lot of time. So you have to make sure that you're able to get as many points as you can get in, and the next person is going to make 5 minutes more of different points for the same reason.
Right.
So that, I think, is the biggest thing that we can do on the 7th. And if that won't get them to engage, then you have no option but to file something in the civil court.
Gotcha. That
Well,
makes sense.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Mhm.
They're gonna ask the reason why is Island Green coming back to the stand? Why, coming back to speak when they,
Because you now have a report from Stephen Emmerman that clearly depicts these issues, and
Okay.
they have been fraudulently put forward by a developer. I don't have the logistics or the knowledge of these bloody reports that they're getting out of Conway, but there is absolutely no question there are wetlands where this project is going on. There is absolutely no question there is a moving body of water. So why was this ever put forward? And you are going to be asking whoever the last person who speaks is going to say, we want this ordinance repealed immediately based on section 13, which says if there are 2 that contradict each other, the most restrictive must stand. That's what the law says in Orange County in their own books. So if we have an ordinance, which we do, that restricts building on wetlands, and they have allowed an ordinance that is allowing them to build on wetlands, we can make the case at county council meeting, they have to repeal the ordinance of rezoning on that property.
okay,
That's the best place to start at the minute, because you're putting them on notice and they have the opportunity to stop it themselves. Nobody wants to go to court. Nobody wants to spend money on litigation. I don't know anybody who should. But the way to start it is by saying you could stop this by repealing the ordinance today. That's what you're going to be asking. Those people are going to be asking for exactly that. Repeal the ordinance. This is a contradiction in law, and you're allowing building on wetlands. And we can prove it, by the way.
okay.
Gotcha. And then, Dawn, I just wanted to clarify and reiterate. So your court case is being
Yeah.
handled in criminal court.
Right.
And if this is a civil lawsuit, then that means it's handled in a completely different court. It's not like you would get the same judge. So it's not like you attaching your name to this would have any bearing whatsoever on the trespassing suit. I mean, the trespassing charge.
Well, it's just advice from my lawyer not to poke the bear, like my fiance just said in the background. Don't poke the bear. I mean, if I'm rescheduled again, I haven't been able to really talk about anything in my group. I couldn't even, openly tell them that Dr. Emmerman was coming to Island Green this past March. You know, I have to be very careful because the developer does want me in jail. So if I'm,
But they want you to be quiet, Dawn.
right? So
They want you to be quiet is what they're trying to accomplish. And this will have, there is no name right now, and I'm not saying I'm your saving grace at the minute. I'm saying I'm in a political race and I have been hammering wetlands. Me going out to you, I've not mentioned Dawn's name anywhere. I told everybody I took a drive out there to see what was actually going on this week. No one knows that Dawn spoke to me at all. They think I met this woman on Saturday at a rally, and she's telling me the government is not listening and they're being inundated with water. So I think we can do this. Dawn, you absolutely don't have to come to the council meeting. You don't have to have your name put into anything. I'm going to poke this bear, and they can't take that out on you. I mean, I don't think they have a leg to stand on with the trespassing to begin with, but that's for your attorney to figure out. This should not, you know, the fact that you were arrested was certainly simply to keep you quiet.
right.
Bear with me 1 second. Give
Believe me,
5 minutes. I'll be on my way. Yeah, I'm
Believe
still on
me,
a conference call. Give me 5 minutes.
I
have to go.
want to say, I want to speak out so bad. I don't want to go back to jail.
So right now you can't speak out. You need to just
Right.
stay out of the way for a minute and let other people do a little work. And as soon as that stuff is set aside or the charges are dropped, which I think they should be, then you can start being very vocal again, but for your own safety and for your, you know, sense of mental well-being, I would not be putting yourself in the middle of this right now.
That's why I'm doing it on the slide.
I know, and I apologize, but I'm actually late for something at the minute, so I do have to go. I have no free time tomorrow, but Friday, anytime afternoon on Friday till Saturday evening at 6 o'clock, I have all that time free. So if there's anything I can answer, Dr. Emmerman, if you don't mind, I don't have your telephone number. Dawn sent me the report yesterday, so I did probably read the beginnings of it, and I will look at in more detail tonight. But clearly you are saying that there is a moving body of water. A stream is a stream. We can't just delineate it or say that it doesn't exist. So I think your report is extremely powerful for this.
My phone number is in the report,
Okay,
but I'm giving it to you also in the chat.
I see it. Thank you.
But it'll also be in the heading of the report.
Okay.
And Dr. Emmerman, is there anything from when you were here this past March that is any different from your report? Did you anything new?
I'm going to think about that. Before this meeting, I hadn't been thinking about it in that way. Okay.
Okay.
But I will think about that question.
Okay. And you are still working on the report? It's not finished yet?
Well, it's not finished, and we kind of have gone round as to exactly what it is that needs to be established. Okay. So speaking with Katrina, I think I have somewhat of a better understanding of that.
Okay.
Okay, but I will think about these things.
And I will, sorry, Dawn, I will also get the specific clarification of what the rules say we can't build on, so that your report can, I don't want it to be contrived is my problem. If your report already clearly says there is a stream and a natural body of water. So I don't know that I would even suggest changing it in any way, but I will go back and look at the specific verbiage that is in the legislation preventing building on wetlands.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Yeah, the reason Dr. Emmerman came was to do a second report, and it was basically about what this new development here would do with if we're going to have more flooding and everything. So it's more than just the stream or the creek, because he already did a report on the creek. So this is about if all the 100 acres is gone, is Island Green going to have more flooding?
Well, we all know the answer to that.
Oh,
of
yeah,
course-
but it needs to be written for anyone to, because
Absolutely.
evidently,
Well, no, yeah, the
county
more
council-
evidence
right.
and the more support you have, the better off you are.
Yeah,
So, and
county
again,
council and planning commission don't believe it, I guess, so it needs to be written in blood or something.
okay, I really apologize, but I do have to go.
Okay.
If we can do this again on Friday or Saturday, I would tremendously appreciate it. In the meantime, I have Dr. Emmerman's telephone number, and Sheila, I don't have yours. I just put my email and my telephone number in a note there.
Mhm.
So if you need to contact me or you want to contact me, feel free anytime during the day. If I don't answer the phone, I will text you. That's what you keep seeing me looking at my phone. So when people are calling, if I can't answer, I'll text and say, as soon as I can, I will get back in contact with you. But it does take a little bit of a combined effort. And I know you guys have been working really hard. I'll be more than happy to work with you guys and try and get something accomplished. That's all we can do.
Great.
Thank
We
you.
really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
No
Thank you
problem.
so much, Katrina. I'm so glad I found you, really.
Just that, you never know what a day can change.